We should be live now. Market's been closed here for about 6 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for September 29th, 2022. Q's down 2.88%. SPY down a little over 2%. Came into today bearish, but I thought we were going to get maybe a little bit more of a bounce. The numbers, which were jobless claims, which came in lower than expected. So then this is one of those situations where kind of good news is bad news, as the market is wanting the Fed to potentially ease up on interest rates sooner than expected. So if the economy is stronger than expected, then there's less chance of that. Okay, so that's essentially the news today. So jobless claims lower than expected, market gap down, and so it wasn't what I expected. I thought we might get a little bit more of a rally, maybe something closer to the 20 MA. But with that news, market immediately continued the bearish trend, and we saw that the hourly had broke. But like I said, there was nothing here for us to be bullish yet. Okay, thought we might get a little bit of more of a bounce before continuing, but I guess with that news, made the next push lower, and then we broke underneath that little bit of a pivot we created. Okay, and then we're back below on the SPY here, the June lows, and then Qs as well. Okay, so of course, overall bias, we've been bearish, right? There's really been kind of no two ways about that. The overall picture, the daily downtrend, the weekly downtrend, that's all there. So we can see these little fluctuations on the hour. That's why we don't make that big a deal out of them. The larger time frame, the context of which these things are happening is what matters more. And so the bearishness still continuing here. But keep in mind, we do have CPE tomorrow. So again, some more news coming out tomorrow. Could that give us a little bit of a push up, or give us another gap down like we had today, right? That another increase in volatility to check for in the pre-market tomorrow. But either way, the bias still remains. We're just clearly in this downtrend on the Qs here. And then every time we get something like this where we try to move up and then we fail underneath it, that really kind of reloads for the next move, right? We've seen that quite a bit. You attempt to move up, and then we get a gap down, erasing that, and then we get the next couple days down. Again, we got another base attempt to move up. That was the FOMC day, and then when that got rejected, another few days down. What did we get yesterday? Attempt to move up, try to break that hourly downtrend. Of course, not enough to go into an uptrend, and then another gap down. So so we'll see tomorrow morning if we get some kind of gap, if the news has a major impact on things as it did today. But bias, of course, remains bearish. Okay? All right. Let's get into the plays from today, and then the play of the day, we'll start with that, was this SUNL. Sammy had a really nice call on this as a short, really nice sell setup. Pretty big gap that attempted to move up first, and then once it started to roll over, you can see kind of the attempt to move up quickly started to weaken, and so that was a nice play there. Nice call, nice tight stop, and stayed pretty weak really all day here. Very weak on the SUNL. So really nice setup on this, and pretty nice trend. I mean, really, a lot of things, had their downtrend today. A lot of things got sold with the market. But when it comes to, a gap being on its own page, there wasn't really anything that could compare to the SUNL. Maybe the KMX arguably the KMX. The only thing with the KMX is as we went over the entry there on the SUNL, I had a nice base there and started to roll over. This entry, I was watching it, was just hard. I checked it on the one, and then the one went right from high of the day through to the low of the day. So typically when that happens, when you already get a move like that, you kind of want to see what is going to be the next entry. So what could have this have done? Maybe done a base there and then done a breakdown at the lows there. If it had kept on going as it did, so you get, a few red bars, okay, fine. If it does a shallow pullback, you can play on that would be a sell setup there. But it really just got going and kept on going. And so unless you're going to fall in, I think the setup was hard. Even if you were to expand out at the open and say, okay, well, I'll do it as a 2-minute high-low, it really was just kind of like a green bar and then an engulfing red bar, which is fine to play. But typically in this situation, I don't want to see an inside bar because sometimes at the open, with things being as volatile as they are, you'll get a wide range green bar and a wide range red bar. And then the next bar will be a wide range green bar. And that's just the gap and the stock trying to work through the kind of opening volatility. So if I get an inside bar that tells me, okay, we've settled a little bit, and whichever the next direction is probably going to be the direction that's going to follow through. So even as a 2-minute high-low, still would have preferred to have seen an inside bar, a little bit of a pause first, and then on the 5-minute, we see more of what we saw on the 1-minute, which is that it moved up, and then as it moved back down, it moved down and then just kind of fell through without giving us any kind of pause or counter move first. So you're kind of coming into this, if you're going to short this after a nice move already off the highs, so that's, you're going to be shorting it after it's already dropped from 76 to 73 and then shorting, and then you got a $3 stop also. So so all of them are like valid, but not ideal, right? So you can see kind of the difference. The way that the SUNL set up, when we look at the 2 and the 1, there's those pausing bars, those inside bars I'm talking about before setting up the next move, right? So that was really, really nice on the SUNL. Really nice call from Sammy. And then as far as scalps go, if you were able to play the VLTA, I think that what has been the most consistent. Second time this week, the VLTA has kind of been the best of the scalps. But it's hard to borrow on Thinkorswim, so it wasn't available for me. Every time it set up a base, level 2 looked good. You can continue to add to it, and it didn't misbehave. So the one that I found to be okay, I don't want to say even really that good because it really was just okay, was the REE. Now, we saw this a few days ago. Yeah, much, much better. This. Nice drop. Nice follow through there. Basically from 90 to 72, not break the offer. Much more behaved. Today, geez, to get 2 or 3 cents in a row was hard. Okay, or that was, almost the best that you could expect. So you can see there, maybe a penny and a half. And so this took quite a few tries on this. Eventually, because I was getting shaken out so much, as you can see here, it shake out, I started to kind of go with a looser stop, but that means you also can't play with as many shares. So I didn't get shaken out on that because my stop was up here. And then I was able to stick with it until, finally, I was on the mic too when this happened. It broke. And then finally I brought the stop down to here before that next big move up. So it was tricky though. I had to adjust, and then the adjustment also made it so I couldn't get as many shares as you would expect or want on something that's a 65-cent stop. So, really it was waiting hours to get those, 2 cents, and then it's only going to move 2 cents. And then it was also can be really whippy. That's why I don't think the RE was all that good. So I made a little bit on that, and then the next play was okay as well. This right here as it started to base again, and we got the drop. So it started to behave again, and then down here ended up, killing it because it started to act volatile again. I think after this, it actually got a base a little bit. Yeah, and then it got the pop. I think there's a bigger pop. Yep, there it is. And then started to set up a base. I was watching for the potential breakout, but I didn't catch it. missed it, and then that actually came all the way back down. But I was watching it too here. It was on the mic when I was doing this. It was just too messy. So, it's really tricky too. So, we've seen the HLGN, right? HLGN on Friday was, something that all day was, until it went climactic, was pretty consistent and easy to read. We saw on Monday the SLQT, because on Monday morning, I thought, you guys are going to hear me say SLQT all morning. You're going to get sick of hearing it. And it turned out, it really ended up being an all-day play. Okay. So it's hard when they do this, and they start to kind of be good at times and not be good at times. It's tough. It's challenging. So when that's the case, I think it's better to be more on the conservative side. Yes, you may get out early sometimes to miss some of the moves, but it's better than giving the whole thing back as these things get sloppy. So overall, I think a little bit on the tricky side, not like it was on Friday and Monday as far as the behavior of some of these scalps. And it's just on any given day, sometimes they'll be there, sometimes they won't. And what's we've seen is even trickier is that even on a given day, at times they'll be good and at times they won't. So just have to kind of be nimble. I think that's really the approach right now. Okay, is to kind of be nimble, manage risk, and stay focused. Okay, don't either lose interest or stop trading or give up or stop paying attention, but also don't start to just take bad plays because you're bored. So that's kind of the balance we got to find right now, I think. Okay, but hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. You can watch yesterday's market wrap. Talked a little bit about the fact that this is the last week, so tomorrow will be my last market wrap. Okay? All right, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good evening.